Hi guys, and welcome to today's SEMrush webinar. So today I am joined by the very famous Aleyda Solis. So today we're going to be talking about the organic research tool. So it's the seventh in the SEO toolbox series. The SEMrush toolbox series. And just to let you know, we're going to continue with that. But the questions today don't always have to revolve around the organic research tool. So when you're going to be asking questions at the end of the webinar, put them in the YouTube chat. It can be anything SEO related as well. So I just want to highlight that point. You don't have to wait to ask questions about that particular tool. But for anyone who is not aware of today's guest, Aleyda, Aleyda, can you tell anyone out there who doesn't know you just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, it's a pleasure to be here today to be able to share with you. I am an SEO consultant. I do SEO consultancy for a living. I have a small boutique SEO consultancy, mainly targeted to do strategical and technical type of SEO. I do a lot of international SEO and mobile related type of SEO strategies too. And I am based in Spain, actually, but yes, most of my clients are from all over Europe and also the US. And I'm very looking forward to share with you today, because this particular report and feature of SEMrush is, like, I have to say that potentially my favorite one with the gap analysis too. So looking forward to share.
Perfect. So while we're waiting people coming into the webinar, we'll just chat for a few minutes just to allow everyone to come on board. So is there anything new happening with yourself? Are you doing anything exciting in the next couple of weeks or months? What's going on?
Yes. Well, actually, if you're keen and open to learn more about SEO in general, SEO tips, right? I started this year doing Crawling Mondays, which is a video series in which every Monday, sometimes a little bit Tuesday, early morning, if my Monday is too packed, right? Crazy day too. I don't know why I choose Monday anyway. But anyway, every Monday I try to publish a new video, very specific. It's sort of a webinar like this, a screen sharing, a specific tip where I show something, right? Like how to validate after a migration has gone wrong, how to use, for example, or how to do a NAMP validation, or for example, this last one was about the free SEO tools that I use for many type of different SEO analysis related tasks. So yes, this is one thing that if you like to learn more about SEO like this in video, I publish them in my Crawling Mondays channel. Look in YouTube Crawling Mondays and you will see my channel there. So yes. Good. That is very exciting. And of course, I usually speak a lot at conferences. If you see me around at any conference, ask for a Crawling Mondays sticker. That actually I should have one over here nearby. But I've been pasting the stickers everywhere. No, here it is. You can ask me one for free, of course.
Yeah. So where is your next bunch of speaking events? I know you mentioned you're not going to Brighton, so where can people?
No, unfortunately, I am going to Ring in Iceland. We are going to see each other there, indeed. And after that, I'm going direct to Canada to Web Quebec. Unfortunately, Web Quebec is happening like on the 8th or 9th, so it's like the day before, something like that, before Brighton SEO. And of course, if it was somewhere in Europe, I could catch a flight and go direct, but unfortunately it's in Canada, in Quebec, so it's very difficult. So yes, unfortunately I will miss the next Brighton SEO, but I will be there for September. Already I committed with Kelvin, I'll be there, yes or yes. Or maybe not if I die before or whatever, but no. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
But no, it's you do a lot of speaking. It's remarkable. How many speaking events do you do a year on average?
You know what? I don't even count, because this is the thing. I'm focusing on doing them. I don't even count. But but yes, there are a lot, and it takes a lot. That is why this year I supposedly started Crawling Mondays a little bit to be more on the web, and also not necessarily go to so many events physically, right? Because it takes, of course, it's like a parallel job, and my real business model is consulting. I mean, I don't get paid to speak. Like I usually just sometimes get paid like the flights and accommodation, etc. Right? So it's like a parallel non-paid job at the same time. But I enjoy it so much because I am remote, and that is the way that I have to socialize also with people. So yeah, so I am going to continue doing it, of course, but I'm trying to take things much more easily. Otherwise, I will have a heart attack soon, and I don't want that.
Want that. But I think what we'll do now is just go on, and I'll do a brief demo of the tool. So I'm going to start sharing my screen just now. And
let's go.
A brief overview of the tool. So the first thing that I'm going to show you, as I show every time I do these tools, is where you find the tool. So again, when you log into SEMrush, you've got your options down the left-hand side here. Under Domain Analytics, if you open that up, you have the Organic Research button here. So it's a relatively new tool onto SEMrush. Well, it's not that new, but it's a lot of people don't notice it, and it's there, and it's not the same as just sticking in your URL into the kind of main tool on SEMrush and seeing what's getting an overview of your website. This one's a wee bit more in depth and very, very good. And the thing for me about this tool is it shows you your position changes. It filters it all down into nice boxes and stuff here. So it's one of my favorite tools at the moment. But I'll just go over all of the stuff you can do with it. It's one of those tools that, again, it's great. It pulls all the data in for you. So there's not a huge amount of stuff that you can actually do with the tool as such, but I will go over everything you can do. So the first thing you want to make sure you do is, if you're in the UK, which is where I'm based, you make sure you select the right database first and foremost. You can choose through hundreds of different databases there to make sure you're collecting the right data, currency, date. You can obviously do desktop, mobile, and things like that. So that is those options that are right there. But this is the main dashboard of the tool, just a generic overview of the website. So you can see there that I've got a 12.25 increase in keywords, 15% increase in traffic costs, and non-branded traffic and branded traffic. And you can see this nice little graph here of stuff steadily going up over the years. Now, SEO is obviously something that I do, and I do a lot of training courses and stuff, but what I really don't do, and I'm sure most people will be able to relate to this, is spend a huge amount of time on my own website. I try and blog regularly to give tutorials and stuff, which is where most of my rankings come from, but I could do a hell of a lot more if time allowed. So it's steadily grown since I've launched the blog, and you get some ups and downs along the way, but that's fine. But after that, you've got the top organic keywords and top position changes. Obviously, it gives you a brief amount here, and then you can open it up to view all 504 organic keywords. So if I click on that, it's going to give me all of the keywords there. So you can do that. The same goes with top position changes. It will show me the positions, the volume, and all that kind of stuff. And you can also look at new positions, lost positions. So if you look at the options here, lost, improved, or declined. So not only are you seeing keywords that have just been crawled and indexed or dropped off, you're actually seeing things that have improved, and also the ones that have declined, which I quite like. I think that's quite a good little feature. So I can see there that how to do a site audit, for example, is not a huge search term, or mass planner, that's a bit better. It's got 2,900 searches. I've dropped a position for that, and I probably want to do some work to push that further up. So you can look at your declined keywords very easily. Great little feature there. So that's the options there. There's 4 of them, and I think that's quite a cool tool for me. You've also got Serp Features. Scroll down. So Serp Features is here, so you can see reviews, tweets, video, and stuff like that, linking to your domain name. You can also see things that are not linking to the domain name, which is things that I can, add into the mix, and I'm probably quite lazy with. Again, it's quite embarrassing to see that. So that's quite a cool little feature. You can also see the top pages. So my homepage gets a lot of traffic And then I've got a SEMrush tutorial page where I've got all these kind of videos showing people what goes on. That certainly brings in some traffic as well and ranks for a fair few keywords. And there's some other tutorials and stuff there. Again, if I click on view all 119 pages, it will show me all of the top pages on my website. Top subdomains, I don't really have any kind of subdomains there, so that's not an option for me. But if you do have subdomains, then you will be able to see what's going on there and you know how many keywords they rank for and where the traffic's coming from. And then below, you've got main organic competitors. So I can see who the competition is, what kind of, you know, common keywords we've got, how many keywords they actually rank for and stuff like that. And again, there's 946 competitors. I can analyze all of that stuff very quickly from that dashboard. And then you've got a competitive position map there where it will give me my website compared to, you know, the competition. And these things are quite good to give to, you know, if you're reporting to clients or whatever. So if you're using this for kind of client stuff, then it's quite good to be able to show them screenshots of this kind of stuff there. So that's a generic overview. Everything else on that overview is then all filtered down into these other options. So there's a number of options here: positions, position changes, competitors, pages, and subdomains. And these are all things that you can, you know, filter down. There's filters here where you can filter by position, filter by keyword, volume, and then there's some advanced filters that, you know, you can do, including keyword containing whatever word, and you can add various other conditions in there. So you've got the filtering option there as well, and that is giving me all of my, you know, 504 keywords. If I'm only interested in looking at the top 10, then again you can work with that, and there's only 49 keywords in the top 10. Again, over here on the right hand side, you can export this data. So you can export all of those 49 keywords into the relevant files there. You can also press PDF if you want to, up the top right hand side, if you want to export it as a PDF. You can also manage the columns here as well. So manage columns, you may not want to show your client the traffic percentage. So you can untick that box there. So you can simply tick and untick what you want to show, and you can drag and drop. So there's this little icon here. So if I want to put traffic first in the list, then I can do that. Or if I want to have volume first, I can drag that up there. So you can drag and drop and manage your columns quite effectively using that as well. So that is your positions. As I say, you can filter it all down by position, filter by keyword, volume, and various other options. The next one is position changes. And again, we can look at the filters. So we can look at the top 10 position changes. And again, it will provide the data. And then we can look at new, lost, improved, or declined. So there's only one, and that was Mass Planner that declined. That's one of my top 10 keywords. But again, you get various other filters here, such as filter by keyword, volume, and your advanced filters. Competitors is the next tab along. And again, you can just drill down into your competitors' information by clicking on it. You can export the data as well. So it's a competitive positioning map. You know, it's not something I particularly use personally, because I don't really do SEO as such for clients. I do more training and stuff, but this is quite good if you're wanting to show people information or a competitive positioning map, you know, comparing to your client's competitors. So again, you can export that as a PDF up on the right hand side, or down there you can export all the data there and by clicking export. Pages is all about the top pages on your website and the traffic that comes to your website, how many keywords a page ranks for, add keywords, and backlinks. So that's all great data. We're all looking at all that kind of information as well. You can use the filter, so you can filter by URL, and you can use some advanced filters there as well. But Pages is really, really good to give you a very quick overview of what pages are working or what pages are you know, maybe needing to be worked on. So you see there that there's a whole heap of pages, 119 of them there. Some of them are good, some of them are, you know, no good at all. And, you know, the likes of Woo Rank Review, nothing at all wrong with that tool, but there's just not a lot of people searching for it. Doesn't bring in a lot of traffic, so it's not something that's going to benefit my website. So I always look at the kind of traffic and the keywords and you know, what percentage that's bringing into my website. So just having that information to hand using this tool, I don't have to go digging about, I don't have to do much. This information is basically handed to me on a plate by using this tool, which is great. And again, you can export that data in the same place as before, and up in the top right hand side you can export it as a PDF if you feel the need to. Also, if you've got multiple subdomains, you know, whether it's like shop dot whatever your domain name is or whatever else, then again you can click on subdomains and see the kind of traffic and keywords and everything else, and you can see which one of your subdomains are actually working well for you and potentially which ones actually need some work doing to them. So that is, in a nutshell, the organic research tool. Great tool. It lays all the data out on a plate for you. You don't really have to run an audit or do anything. You just put your information in there and it populates it with the data required. And as I say, very simple and easy to use. If you feel that the tool is lacking in something, you know, maybe another idea, just in the top right hand side here, you can send feedback to SEMrush. They always welcome feedback from people. If you feel that there's an additional part of the tool that would make it better, make sure that you do consider sending that feedback in. So that is the tool, as I say, in a nutshell. It's a great little tool that I use on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, it's one that you should certainly be having a look at. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to hand you over to Aleyda.
Perfect.
So if you want to start sharing your screen, you
Sure
can.
thing. Sure thing. Although oh my God, you have done such a good work already. But maybe we can go and have a beer. That's the bad part of the virtual thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could have gone already and have a beer, because you have done already such a great work describing the tool. And I have to say something. This is the tool that I use whenever I start with a new SEO process, and I don't know the website at all. I don't know for which keywords it is rankings, if I had suffered any type of drop or penalization or redesign, and I want to have a proper overview, right? Because you will see that at the you can have a very quick outlook of it, but you can certainly start digging much more and getting so much value also, not only for a quick overview, but also for a proper analysis, competition analysis, and to identify opportunities and challenges already on the side, right? So I am going to be switching a little bit back and forth, because I don't want to be missing anything important and meaningful. And I have already done a few outlines of things that I wanted to share. I saw that you already covered the basics. So these are some of the keywords that I usually try to address and answer with the information that the tool provides, right? Like the first and much more meaningful data that the tool provides is the rank keywords, right? The current positions of this website for this particular country, right? And so, as you mentioned, it's important that we select and identify the country database. But also, if for example, my website here, Remoters, that is a project that I have about remote work, right? It is not targeting any country in particular, it's targeting the language. So what I usually do is to check not only the US database, but I also switch between databases, or the UK ones and also the Spanish one, because we have a Spanish version, the Spain one, sorry, because we have a Spanish version to identify the same opportunity. And it's great that this can be done very, very quick with SEMrush. And then, of course, regarding the top terms, I love that we can prioritize based on the traffic value that they drive to the website, right? Because not not necessarily because they are targeting a high search volume keyword. That means that they are ranking so well at the moment to be driving enough value. So the combination of these different metrics, I find them very, very valuable. Which are the terms that are targeting high search and very popular keywords that are already ranking in the top positions more or less well, right? So for example, I come here and I go and take a look at which are those keywords that maybe right now are not ranking already yet in the top first, second, and third position, but yes, they are in the top 20 and they are addressing and targeting a very popular term. And I can see here then very low hanging fruit, because it will be far easier for me to bring these terms that are already in the top 20 in the top 5 position than start ranking for them from scratch, right? And then, of course, this is the thing. It's a great opportunity to identify here if I am addressing keywords that are not relevant at all. I have identified in the past in a few occasions that the website was indexing some pages that were not meant to be to be indexed, that there were some getting some type of attack and ended up even ranking for some terms that were not relevant at all and actually a little bit negative. So you can identify also and verify if the keywords are actually meaningful at all, and of course not really necessarily target and prioritize those terms that are not relevant at all. For example, in my case, in Remoters, we have some pages in the job board and in the tool section addressing the names of these tools and companies hiring remotely. And this, yes, I can see that they're driving traffic because they rank for the name more or less. But for me, it's much more meaningful to rank for remote year reviews, right? And it's great to see that the rankings have improved a lot lately for this particular term. I can double check very easily here if the page ranking for this term is actually the relevant one, the one that should actually be ranked for this term or not. And then what I love is the integration with other tools. So for example, with the other SEMrush tools. So for example, if I click here, I will get at a much more granular basis the information of everything related to this particular keyword, like the trend over time, related terms that I can use to expand and improve and optimize this term, and which are the other websites ranking in better positions than me, so I can identify the gap with mine, right? I can identify what I am still not doing so well that I should improve, really, to improve the positions. Another important aspect that I usually do is that I like to go and identify the opportunities to be included in Serp Features. Craig mentioned very well that this is also something included here. And I love to go directly here and I look for, okay, show me those keywords that have, for example, a feature snippet or a feature video, in case that I have a lot of videos, in case of my capabilities to generate content and optimize for this content. I can very well go and select this type of content for which it will be worthy for me to be included or not, or better understand actually what's the way or how my results are actually shown. Maybe I am seeing that I'm in a very, very good position, but still like that, even like that, the traffic is not the one that the one that I expected, right? Maybe I expected a much better traffic for this type of terms. So I can come here and I actually can take a look at how my page looks for this particular ranking, right? So I am going to eliminate right now just to show you a little bit further to with the specific pages. The trend over time is also important, and also another thing that you can eliminate and you can select the different tables here. The metrics shown in the tables. So actually, you can only leave those particular aspects that are meaningful for you. Let me show you, because I have here the example of showing the instant answer here, and how I can go and take a look at the preview for any keyword that I am particularly ranking to check out the SERP. And I can see, for example, here, even if I am in the 3rd position, maybe the click-through rate is not great, or I am not seeing that I'm bringing so much traffic. And of course, it's because there is a big Serp feature here, and people also ask. And so probably here, I will need to do a much better work in order to get a much better engagement from my user. Something important here, and I don't know if you noticed, I am here in the rankings for January because I was checking at historical data, and this is something actually super useful. I can go back, of course, at my current rankings for my website. But if at any point I go here to the position changes report that Craig also talked about before, and I can go and take a look and say, look, oh my God, maybe in last year, some of my pages were targeted by one of the Google updates. Maybe I lost a few rankings at that point, right? I can, on one hand, I can come here and take a look at this, right? Which are the positions that I have, in this case, declined or lost completely. But besides this, and making the most out of this evolution over time, and the position changes over time, to better understand how my website might have hit by any update, or if at some point I did a migration, or a migration was done where I wasn't involved. And I want to understand what happened there, how the website lost a lot of traffic or visibility per term. I can come here and take a look at that. And then there is another way that I also like, is to come back here to the overall positions and go to the specific date after I identify which was the day where my traffic drop or my rankings drop. I can come here and go to the historical data to better understand what was the specific position photo at that point in time. So I find this also particularly useful. Another, a little bit more additional analysis that I do is to compare the rankings and positions that I am targeting with my desktop version, within the desktop search results versus the mobile ones, to understand also the behavior of the user. Are the users searching for the same type of queries? Are they searching something different? In the case that I have specific mobile pages, which is not the case because this website is responsive, but in case I had specific mobile pages, are the mobile URLs the ones effectively ranked here as they should or not, right? So I can already identify potential mobile optimization opportunities there. I can identify better and understand better the gap between the mobile queries versus the desktop ones, to see if there are any also opportunities for me to optimize something further only in my mobile version, to leverage that mobile opportunity, especially important now with the mobile first index, and of course to better understand in general how are these top terms being ranked. And here, sorry, something that I was trying to look before and couldn't find, the SERP preview for mobile specifically, right? I can better understand not only in desktop but also in mobile how my results are shown, and in this particular case actually is highlighting PC Magazine, and this is actually me, the one above. And in this particular case, yes, indeed, how my snippet is shown, right? So again, I can better understand why the behavior of my user for this particular query, for this particular page, is also in certain way, right? Of course, I can also see if the volume trend is positive, if it is negative, it is much worthy for me to rank for synonyms or related terms instead of this specific one. But it allows me to dig much further, right? And to better understand at a much higher detail why I am ranking in certain ways, and use the segments to identify opportunities to improve my rankings already directly, right? And as I showed here before, analyze the top queries for which we are ranking here, and identify related terms and opportunities. Then another important aspect, which also was already addressed a little bit by Craig, but I love this top pages report, because not only tells me, look, these are the pages that are bringing much more traffic, which is actually, it is a little bit funny and ironic here, because this is again a company page here in my job section, but it's not necessarily a super highly relevant term for which I will love to rank for, right? But it's bringing me traffic, so it depends at the end on like what what is your business model of your website, I can click and see which are the specific keywords that are addressed by this page. But something that I love to do before that is to click here, so I am shown the backlinks from any of these pages to better understand if, for example, any of these pages are actually very, very important pages that I really want to push further. So, for example, this one here, the best virtual mailboxes for digital nomads, for which I am ranking already in the 3rd position. I really want to push this page further and allow this page to rank in the 1st position, because I can see also that the search volume for that query is not trivial, right? But it's still not in the top one, right? But I can see here that is ranking for a couple of keywords, so it's not bad, but there are no backlinks identified for this particular page coming from any other websites, right? So, which on the other hand, I can see that my laptop for digital nomad pages, it does have external backlinks. So this is something that I know here right away, and I can identify here rather easily. That is something that I want to prioritize. I really want to start promoting this page, to start attracting external links to this page to improve further its popularity, because it's already in the top 3. It's already targeting a query that is very, very important for me, meaningful for me from a business perspective. I want to push it further. So this is great because it allows me to see, yes, the same data, but segmented in another way that allows me to identify many more opportunities and to also prioritize better my SEO process. If at some point this is not only a quick analysis, but a proper SEO process, that it should be like this, right? Besides this, another of the questions that I like to answer is, if at some point I see something like this, that I have a lot of queries here and it's ranking for a couple of keywords, but if I see that there is a page actually ranking for many keywords, that so I really want to see if all the keywords for which this page is ranking are actually meaningful. So I click here and I can take a look at which are these keywords for which this particular page, because I can get the granularity of all the organic research only per URL at a URL level here, which is great. So I can see if these are actually relevant terms for this particular page. If not, I can also identify opportunities to optimize this page further, or even create new pages that will better address to these other terms that I can see that are not necessarily well focused with this particular page, right? And what I mentioned before, also to identify opportunities from other countries. Something very interesting with the subdomains list here is that not particularly with remoters, thankfully, but this is a very quick way to validate for me that I use whenever I start a new SEO process, just to check if the business doesn't have like a dev environment or a test environment that's, I mean, many occasions are located in some domains, and they have a subdomain, the test subdomain in open, right? That is crawlable, and at some point it is even indexable, right? So I want to double check that really quickly to see if that's the case, just in case, because I really don't want that's really something that should be fixed as soon as possible. So that is a very low hanging fruit, really quick validation to make. And another something important also to take into consideration, and I will clear here to leave again the whole domain information here of remoters to look back, is that I don't know if this has happened to you in the past, but whenever there's an update, a Google update, or when you come in here and validate and want to check if those the traffic trend of your website in Google Analytics really correlate with the one of SEMrush, and sometimes you don't necessarily see it as much, right? Sometimes it does correlate a lot, very well, but you really want to understand why sometimes you see a huge increase in rank terms, rank queries, but you don't necessarily see this reflected in the organic traffic information given by SEMrush itself, right? And it is because remember that by default we are shown the graph here of the keywords of everything that SEMrush has, and of course SEMrush has a huge database of keywords. Many of them might be less relevant than others, of course. But honestly, it's good to see the potential that you have with the keywords that are already in the top 50 or top 20. But sometimes, in most occasions, these keywords are not in the top 10 positions, are even not in the top 3 positions, are not keywords that are already bringing you traffic, are not the keywords that are moving the needle at the moment of your traffic, organic traffic, right? But these are. So I always love to filter them out and select and see what is the actual trend of my top 3 positions and my top 10 positions, because these are usually much highly better correlated with the actual quality of my website and trend, meaningful trend behavior of my organic evolution, because these are the ones that are actually bringing traffic to my site. So I always love to double verify it and check that. And then besides the dropped and gained rankings, something also particularly interested that I also forgot to mention before is that maybe I see that there were so many keywords that were dropped at some point in the past, and I want to dig further, right, and see which are the ones that were declined or lost. And something that I really, really appreciate, and a metric that we should actually care a lot about, is that SEMrush doesn't only include if we have lost the position from 1 to 2, 34 to 45. So we can see that this is, well, a drop, but it's from the first to second position. So maybe, yeah, it has an important impact on the click-through rate and the traffic. Here is a even higher drop from the 34 position to 45, but very likely this keyword is not bringing us much because it's in 34 position anyway. So for me, it's much more meaningful sometimes also to take a look at the traffic change, right? What happened as a consequence of this drop. So even by just losing a position here, this is the one change that has caused many more losses in my case, right? So this is really cool. I also love that I can click on any of this and I will actually be able to see at what point in the past I have been ranking for this particular keyword here, and if this is a keyword for which what has been the trend over time, if this is a keyword for which I have been improving over time or losing over time, and if it is really a surprise that it was dropped, or if maybe it dropped in May 2018, but I can see that, yeah, I am ranking for it again. So surprise, it's actually not necessarily a drop now. So this is something important to do, because we can go and see back in the old data, but maybe we have regained it at some point again. So we can double check this very quickly and see that, okay, yeah, it was a loss in a year ago, but now I have regained it, so I'm all good, right? It's not something that we should be particularly worried about. So I love that we can double check and verify the data in that way. That makes it very meaningful. And again, if we want to check the particular photo of all the rankings and pages ranked before a migration, before a redesign that went wrong, we can go to the historical data specifically over time. And then let me see, of course, the competition analysis. For me, again, when I am starting a new SEO process in a new industry, right, it's very, very likely that we don't know which are the organic competitors of my site. And of course, the client has a good idea of which are the business model competitors, if the companies are competing with them in business, but not necessarily in the SERPs, right? So this is very, very meaningful. I love that, and I try to balance it out. The ones that on one hand are sharing more keywords with my site, and that are also ranking for many keywords and have a higher traffic, right? Because maybe a website is sharing a lot of traffic with me, but they are not necessarily a winner. They are not necessarily the leaders in my market. And I love that this graphic does a really good job to show me that, right? Like this is an important player, and I can verify here if I am sharing a high share of my keywords with this particular player. In this case, it does. It is an important player. It is creating a lot of rankings and traffic by themselves. So I can definitely see how this is an actual page or an actual website, sorry, that I can consider my real competitor, and I want to dig further and do the same analysis that I have done here before with my website, but with them, to understand how they are bringing the traffic, with which pages, with which queries, which are the ones that they share with me or not. I go to the gap analysis here that I love it too. The keyword gap analysis, to better understand which are those terms that they are ranking for that I don't yet and are also meaningful and relevant for me, and have a high search popularity that I should address. And again, I think that this is super valuable, especially for the competition analysis, because I can also see some details of potential information that I can use in my case. So maybe, of course, I want to analyze and verify if I have lost traffic, if I have dropped because of an update of Google. But I also want to check if that is the case of my competitor. So here I have switched to this other website that I can consider my competitor, and I want to take a look if there are any meaningful losses in the last, let's say, 6 months, and if they haven't recovered yet. And if so, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to start addressing these terms, because it maybe something is happening with this website, and I can target that. I can leverage that opportunity because somehow they are not correctly performing, right, and they are losing those rankings. And then regarding the top pages and subdomains, I love to go and take a look at the ones of my top industry players in whatever industry. For example, if I am in e-commerce and I look to have an e-commerce, or if I am into travel, I go and take a look at which are the main players in those sectors to better understand how they have structured their top areas, right? So for example, here in Nike, I can see they have so many different subdomains, right? And these huge websites, they usually can have different type of organization and web structure. So I can easily see in this case which are the areas here that are bringing much more traffic, much more meaningful traffic towards them. And then of course the top pages, hopefully in the future, and this I wish here that hopefully the SEMrush team can hear, they allow us to do this per path. It would be great to see per directory, for example, which are the top ones, so we can identify which are the areas that are bringing more to any player, important player. I really love, yes, to verify the top industry websites as well as my competitors here, to see how they have behaved over time, and to better understand if there should be a page that I should be creating right now, because this is already super meaningful for them and they are attracting so much with it, and I haven't created it yet, right? Or a certain category or structure that they have, and I haven't addressed at all completely right now, right? So this is more or less what I wanted to show you today, to show you a little bit how I dig and I go through the different data. As you can see, for me is to know, like, because this is the thing, when you have so much data, it is so easy to go like paralysis by analysis, right? But it's about actually, well, replying to the questions that are the ones that you will likely get answers to establish your SEO process, to go with your SEO process. And of course, after you have actually started to monitor that your efforts are actually paying off and you're actually evolving as you expected, in the way that you expected, with the actual keywords that you wanted with. And if not, to identify why, which are the pages that are ranking for them, which are the ones that should be ranking. This is the thing. Of course, you want to set your own ranking campaigns for the specific keywords that you are specifically targeting in your SEO process. And you can do this with the SEMrush campaigns too. But this allows us to have a broader overview of opportunities of keywords that we might not yet be addressing because of whatever reason, right? And even, I will say, don't do this type of analysis only at the beginning of the SEO process. Do it frequently. Do it after every couple of months, every 3 months, even if you rank track your specific keywords, come back here and understand which are these other potentially relevant synonyms or related terms for that you are already addressing or ranking more or less well, even without if you are not on purpose doing it. So because they can provide you great opportunities to start including much more into your SEO process, and do the same with your competition, because they are also always evolving. And you want to identify additional opportunities and include much more and revise much more, and maybe eliminate a few things that you are doing, or terms, queries that you are targeting in your SEO process that are not performing as well, and start including more that you can identify at an ongoing basis, right? So I can see how this allows me to have this broader overview, not only of my top terms, which of course are important for me, but of any important or meaningful opportunity here that might be happening, not only with my website, but also in my sector, right? So hopefully this has provided you a little bit broader view of what you can do with all this data.
Perfect. It was certainly very in-depth, and I think a lot of people enjoyed that. And while we're talking about that, are you able to allow people to see those slides and stuff you made? There's a few people asking in the YouTube chat if they're going to be able to get to see the slides that you made.
Yes, sure thing. Well, actually, it's funny because I wasn't expecting to share the slides, because this was mostly for me to not lose track or forget to show something. But of course, I can definitely share them over SlideShare or share a link over Twitter with a hashtag right now. Don't worry.
Perfect. So thank you for that, guys. If you've got any questions on the topic in conversation, or if you've got any other generic questions, we do have 14 minutes left to get some questions answered. So just make sure you do put those in the YouTube chat, and we will be able to answer them. So we do have questions, Aleyda. So what I'll do is I'll just start pulling them up, and we can get them answered. So we have a question from Stephanie Manley. And Stephanie's saying, if our traffic is mostly mobile, should we be working for mobile rankings first?
Sorry, which traffic does she mean? Sorry, I didn't hear you well. Sorry.
Most of Stephanie's traffic is from mobile.
Okay.
She's wondering if she should be working for mobile rankings first.
Yes, especially nowadays with Google's mobile first index. Especially fundamentally, if your website has already been moved to the mobile first index, you should be primarily nowadays checking those rankings, because these are the ones that should be much more meaningful right now. But in any case, even if you haven't been moved to Google mobile first index, at the end of the day, it's about which are the devices that your audience use and your visitors use. And if a high share of your organic traffic you can identify in Google Analytics that is already coming from mobile devices, you definitely be checking out and updating and revising and following up with these trends, not only the desktop ones, and understanding better and comparing also if the evolution is also positive, and try to understand if there are any gaps in them, right, to identify opportunities in them. So I will say yes, especially if most of your organic traffic is coming already from mobile. I will say that this is amazing. This is key, and you should be following up with the evolution of your rankings and your competitors' ranking also over mobile search results.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. I've also just had a message asking if you could stop sharing your screen as well, please.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So, no, that's cool. The next question is from John Duncan. And John is asking, what's your recommended approach when a site's keyword rankings are jumping around extensively from one day to the next?
What do I do if the keyword rankings are jumping one day?
Yeah, they're jumping around every other day. What's your recommended approach?
Well, this is the thing, right? We cannot obsess over rankings on a day-to-day basis, right? Because indeed, they can change in some sectors. They can change quite a lot, right? When there's a lot of freshness factor going on, we should be focus on the trend over time. So for example, if we are doing certain efforts to improve the rankings for certain queries, I am not going to be checking every single day because I will go crazy. And also, especially even based on the specific time that the ranking tool gives me the data, it can be something like very differently, right? If it changes from day to night or things like that. But what you want to see is the consistency of these rankings over time. So I will check week by week, every 2 weeks, and of course at the end of each month to see if it has increased or decreased. Even when there is an update, whenever there's a confirmation from Google that there has been an update in Twitter, right? Everybody goes running to their run trackers and see if the drops or not, or they come to SEMrush, right? And in some cases, we can already see a little bit of drop. In others, it takes time. We end up seeing like a couple of days after, or 3 days after that it has dropped or it has increased or whatever. So for me, it should be at the end of the day, it should be about common sense. Like we should leave enough time to see an actual trend. It should be about the trend and not about the specific positions, because we know that also positions change based on the location, based on the language, etc., the personalized behavior of the user in the SERPs, etc. So it won't be always in number first, number second. So we shouldn't obsess about the specific position, I would say, but just on the evolution and the trend over time of those rankings, right? And at the end of the day, if you see those reflected in your traffic too, in your organic traffic and in the actual final metrics that you want to, and the goals that you want to achieve, not only in the metrics, right, but your actual goals, like you see this improvement also reflected in conversions at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you hear your phone ringing anyway, so if you're selling something, you can tell very quickly whether you're on the kind of progressive streak there. But going on from that, Area has asked the question: what's your recommendations for web pages that are ranking high for irrelevant keywords?
For irrelevant ones?
Yeah.
Not relevant. Well, this is the thing, right? You cannot stop that from happening. Did you see my case with remoters? We have the details of the companies that publish their jobs adverts on our site, and of course it's nice to have this a little bit of vanity metrics to see the traffic going up, because people search for whatever name and they end up clicking on our result. Honestly, that is not my purpose. I prefer to rank for top remote jobs in Europe or something like that, much more than that. At the end of the day, if it is something relevant and that won't hurt, I won't no index those pages just to make them to not rank for that. I do believe that I can provide something of value for those users, and what I will do if my business model is to bring traffic to my website because I will be showing ads, I will try to compensate this traffic by showing meaningful information about those queries that they are searching for, because I do want to bring them to my site, because this is how I make money, right? So it depends. If your business model is attracting traffic and you want more traffic, you can identify opportunities to be a resourceful result at the end of the day and make the most out of that, even if you don't see as super related to your specific topic. On the other hand, if you do see that these are queries that are not relevant at all completely, and your business model is like e-commerce for very specific type of products, and you don't care about the traffic as a metric, it's a complete vanity metric for you, and what you actually want is to sell. And then on the other hand, I understand that you might be worried to not necessarily give the best engagement signals with those pages, because the bounce rate might be very high, or the bubble stick type of behavior can be very high because you don't provide that much value. Then there are two ways to address them, to whether improve those pages and make them meaningful if it is an actual query, and if not, see if it is actually necessary for you or important for you to have that page at all, because if it is not bringing any value, why you have bid index, right? Or what is the role that it plays in your conversion journey, right? And of course, you don't want to be spending anything or money or content or technical support or whatever on pages that are not meaningful for you, right? So these are the questions that you should see if you're actually, and the answers at the end will tell you if you should actually prune those pages, if you should index them, consolidate them, eliminate them, if it is worthy for you to keep them or not at the end of the day. In some cases, it's something that you cannot prevent and it won't hurt. But in other cases, you should be asking, it's like, oh my God, that's only bringing me trashy type of traffic, it's not adding any value, it's actually just showing poor engagement about my website. Is it actually worthy for me to keep it there, right? So these are the type of questions that you should answer, and based on those answers is that you will take one or the other decision. Of course, if these are pages, it's important that you analyze well. If these are pages that are at some point, maybe they are not attracting necessarily transactional terms, but they are maybe found useful by your audience, and they are being linked. They are linked a lot, and they are getting backlinks. So they are bringing value, right? Or they are bringing referral traffic. Maybe they are not bringing a lot of rankings or good rankings, but they are bringing a referral traffic. They are bringing value. So it's important that you assess all of the metrics, all of the potential factors that you want to take into consideration to see that if you at some point index or eliminate them, they won't end up hurting your rankings. And if at some point they are getting links from external sources and you don't want to lose that, you may want to 201 redirect to new destinations, to a new destination, to keep that value too, that is still relevant, for example, this sort of thing. So it's not black and white. You should analyze and identify the potential best opportunity for you while keeping the cost manageable too, because I understand that otherwise you will end up with millions of pages indexed that won't necessarily bring value. Yeah.
Perfect. Great answer again. So get time for another couple of questions. We'll try and get through these. So someone was asking, have you got any recommendations or what are your recommendations if you have keywords that are declining? What sort of things are you doing to get them back up?
Yeah, that is a great question. So actually, I want to understand first with which pages these keywords are ranking. This is the first question answer that I want for that, because maybe they are declining because there are cannibalization issues, and maybe sometimes the keywords, the pages that are ranking for these keywords are different, are related, are similar, and it's about do a little bit of cleaning or consolidation on my website structure to make sure that it's the right page, a really meaningful and relevant page that targets those keywords, that specific group of keywords. So first I want to understand which are the pages that are ranking for them. If these are the actual relevant pages, and if not, do the proper optimization to drive the keywords to rank with the right page. Also, that page that is ranking for them, if it is the meaningful one, the relevant one, I want to not only go and optimize the metadata and improve a little bit the content or internal linking, and also try to attract links. No, I will go and do a comparison of the top pages that are ranking above this particular page for that particular keyword, and I want to understand the gap of those pages versus mine. Why is Google ranking better for this keyword? Do they address better the query, or how they are including those terms in the metadata? Are they including more content, or what is the format of the content? Are they attracting a lot of links internally or externally to that particular page? And this is how they are pushing it further. So I want to understand from a relevance and popularity perspective all of the factors that play a role to see where is the gap. Where is the gap? Why my page is not ranking as well as the others? And then it's about closing that gap, right? But before start optimizing a little bit everything that I know that is the first intent, right? After you see that it's dropping, it's important to identify what are the potential factors playing a role there, in particular for this particular case, because you really want to optimize your resources and prioritize them accordingly.
Perfect. So that is pretty much us for today, Aleyda. So thank you very much for answering those questions and going in depth as much as you did. I'm sure the viewers did find that exciting. We are back again with another SEMrush Toolbox webinar in a couple of weeks' time, and the next one will be with Peter Nicolau or Nikolov, however you pronounce that. I always get pronunciation wrong, and it will be on the log file analyzer tool. But for today, thank you everyone for coming, and a big thank you to Aleyda for being here. So appreciate it, and we'll see you the next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.